that when we are interacting with children, that children are a miniature version of adults. That's how most of us look at children as, right? That they're just tiny adults. But child psychologists have done extensive research and realized that children are their own entity and they have their own identity. And the way they function is very different from the way that adults function, right? So, what are those differences? Firstly, the cause for those differences is because of their cognitive abilities. So, cognition basically means thinking capacity, their thinking patterns. So, their thinking patterns are not as developed as adults, and that is the reason why they show a different personality than what adults may. And then, secondly, their psycho and social factors. So, their environment as well as their intrinsic factors, their genetics, is what causes this difference between adults and children. Now, one very common thing that you as teachers will understand is that children are very present oriented. That means their focus is what is happening right now. They're not able to foresee a very, longitudinal kind of a circumstance. So, for example, if you were to explain to a child that if they learn a maths problem, let's say addition, properly in their early school years, they will not struggle as much as they grow into higher classes. But a child may not be able to understand those consequences early on, right? So they're very present oriented, whereas as adults, we understand consequences, decisions, and how they will influence our future, right? Now, another thing that children do is the fact that they make a lot of their decisions based on their emotions. So children do not have the capacity to regulate emotions the way that adults do, right? So that is the reason why a lot of the decisions that children make are driven by the emotion that they're feeling. If, for example, they like a certain ice cream, right? They will not be able to understand if eating that ice cream is going to possibly make them sick or give them a cough. If they like it, it makes them happy, they want it, right? And then they may want to push for it, they may want to throw tantrums from it, etc., etc. So their emotions drive their behavior. Unlike adults, where we understand the concept of emotions, but we also know how to regulate and take logical decisions, right? Now, another thing that children struggle with, because remember, their cognitive ability, their thinking pattern is not so developed, then they struggle with making the rational reasoning skill and applying it in a stressful situation. They will not be able to handle a stressful environment and take the most rational or logical choice, right? And then we as adults, we use the term that children are immature, right? That they behave immaturely compared to adults.